of
I'm already offended.
Marine One.
I don't know why, but...
In slow-mo now, in case you don't understand why your head should have exploded.
So let me be clear. So to the Iraqi people, let me be clear about America's intentions. Let me be clear. The United States government has no interest in running GM. So let me be clear. But let me be clear. Let me be clear. I'm committed to making these cuts in a way that protects our senior citizens. And let me be clear. NATO should be seeking collaboration with Russia, not confrontation. But let us be clear. Al-Qaeda killed nearly 3,000 people on that day. So let me be clear. If you like your doctor or healthcare provider, you can keep them. So let me be clear. This isn't about me. I have great health insurance, and so does every member of Congress. Let me be clear. America's commitment to its veterans are not just lines on a budget. Let me be clear. It would only be an option for those who don't have insurance. Now let me be clear. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. It would only be an option. Let me be clear. This is not about singling out individual nations. Let me be clear on our goals. Let me be clear. I do not view it as a recognition of my own accomplishments. Some, and let me be clear, not all, but some on Wall Street forgot that behind every dollar traded or leveraged, there's a family looking to buy a house. So let me be clear. BP is responsible for this leak. BP will be paying the bill. But let me be clear. As a citizen and as president, I believe that Muslims have the right to practice their religion as everyone else in this country. Let me be clear to Mr. Boehner and everybody else. We should not hold middle-class tax cuts hostage any longer. But let me be clear. I will not walk away from this fight. Now let me be clear once more. The United States and the international community seek a resolution to our differences with Iran. Let me be clear on what I'm saying, because I'm not suggesting that we don't have to do more. Let me be clear. The change that is taking place across the region is being driven by the people of the region. And let me be clear. I will only use this authority for reforms that result in more efficiency, better service, and a leaner government. Let me be clear. Achieving this agenda will not be easy. Now, before the other side gets all excited, let me be clear. If you're a company that wants to outsource jobs or do business around the world, that's your right. It's a free market. Let me be clear.
Shame on your husband! Take the husband, slut! The law's clear! Stone her! She must be judged and sentenced. What is this? She's a sinner! An adulteress! She's got to be punished according to the law!
Take her to the master!
Master! Shame on you! Stone her! Stone her!
Master, what shall we do? This woman has been caught in the act of adultery. She should be punished according to the law. What do you say?
Answer, Master.
I haven't had much sleep in the last 48 hours, so.
Is it right to kill her?
We're going to. Look, I've got two daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old. I'm going to teach them, first of all, about values and morals. But if they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby. I don't want them punished with an STD at the age of 16. What they'll say is, well, it costs too much money. But you know what? It would cost about the same as what we would spend over the course of 10 years. It would cost what it would cost us. All right. Okay. We're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost for about. Hold on one second. I can't hear myself. But I'm glad you're fired up, though.
May the Lord give you happiness.
I've written about this. There were times where I experimented with drugs. I drank, in my teenage years. And what I trace this to is a certain selfishness on my part. I was so obsessed with me and the reasons that I might be dissatisfied that I couldn't focus on other people.
Thank you. Thank you.
The first mainstream African American.
Thank you.
Who is articulate and bright, clean.
Hey, what a wonderful reception. Thank you, St. Paul.
You know, the topic's energy today, and the summer's over, and gas prices have started to come down a little bit.
Rabbi, you said you have come here to give us the good news. Is this it?
Well, I think that whether you're looking at it from a theological perspective or a scientific perspective, answering that question with specificity, is above my pay grade.
There are things that you can do individually, though, to save energy. Making sure your tires are properly inflated. Simple thing. But we could save all the oil that they're talking about getting off drilling if everybody was just inflating their tires and getting regular tune-ups. You could actually save just as much. Did somebody just get faint?
I felt this thrill going up my leg. And a speech worthy of Abraham Lincoln.
Here's parking enforcement parked in a red zone. So you break the law to enforce the law, right?
Yeah, man. You want to take a closer one or?
Is this your life's calling? Are you content with what you're doing with yourself? I appreciate you talking to me. The more you talk to me, the less you're writing people tickets, so that's good.
All right. Are you done? Are you just going to record me all day?
You're beautiful. How could I resist?
Oh, I don't blame you. See, I'm working right now. You're distracting me. Can you get out of my face?
If I'm distracting you, then perhaps you're not in the right occupation since you can't handle a person standing
still.
still.
You can follow me.
Okay. Are you doing it to retaliate to me?
No. Do my job.
Oh.
Fired me. So glad you have it.
Does it make you feel good to do it?
No comment.
Anybody got a quarter to save this person a ticket?
What happens when you, like, I guess, lie?
Can I put in a quarter for? You gonna give him a ticket to the winter ball? No, it's not him. This guy. You sure? He's been following me all day, man. You sure? You're not gonna give him a ticket to the parking enforcement winter ball? What's up? You're not gonna give him a ticket for the parking enforcement winter ball? That's what you guys. I don't know. This guy's been following me since over there. I don't know, man.
I actually got over here quicker on my feet than you did. Fight the ticket. At least cost them money from costing you money.
I don't know, man. How's that? Pays for the creator.
Well, I gotta go, but I want to wish you success.
I like this.
I know. I don't blame you for finding me.
I feel like I'm in parking wars right now.
I want to wish you luck in finding something more productive to do with your life than participating in stealing money from people.
I volunteer.
Good luck for you.
I'm volunteering.
Hey Garrett. So today is July 16th or July 18th. 2014, and you had 2 parking tickets that you fought in court today. Tell us how that went.
Sure. Today I had the unique experience of taking 2 singular violations and challenging them in one trial. I was issued 2 parking citations back on February 25th. And it was unique circumstances because it's the first time I've ever received a parking ticket in the city of Keene. I'm one of the Robin Hooders here. I go around filling parking meters, saving other people from tickets. But in this instance, with the first parking ticket, I sort of allowed it to be written. The parking enforcer asked if I wanted to fill the meter, and I said, you know, maybe a court experience is worth $5. And I thought it was definitely worth the $5 and $10 that it turned out to be. Later in the day, I was parking and got out and quickly began filling meters. And the officer ran over to my expired meter before I even thought to fill it, and thought they found victory, began writing a ticket. I tried to fill it in time, but the officer would not allow that to happen, and so that was one of the things I challenged in court today.
So what were your arguments like when you brought this case forward? Did you use some of the same arguments for both trials, or did you have different arguments?
I sort of had different arguments for each one, because in a sense I allowed the first ticket to be written. And I used some arguments relating to whether or not I did things to assist in the enforcement of the parking regulations in Keene. And I believe that what myself and others do does help the parking department with what they do. And the parking enforcer sort of admitted on the stand that we increased the efficiency of the parking department by causing them to work harder. And so I was glad to have been able to ask all the questions I was able to ask with the parking enforcer. The strategy for the second ticket that I tried to point out was how this parking enforcer used a great deal of enthusiasm and broke with her standard procedure for checking meters in order to dart directly to my vehicle and issue a citation on it.
Was the judge persuaded by any of this?
Judge Burke is a tough nut to crack. It seems that as I was getting into my line of questioning, he was always trying to keep up with where is this line of questioning going. And when he understood what I was getting at, he'd start saying, oh, you're making this argument now. And it seemed as though he was going to allow me to make that argument, allow me to continue those lines of questioning. And then he'd let 2 or 3 questions go by before when there was an objection to them, sustained irrelevant. So I don't understand why the judge, if something is irrelevant, he couldn't allow it to at least come out in court. And he could deem it irrelevant when he's making his decision during the not sentencing, but when he's determining guilt or innocence. Is
that adjudication?
Sure.
I don't know what that's called exactly. But so what would happen if you didn't pay your fines now that he's found you guilty?
I believe it would be jail time would result. It's possible they would take my license, just say that I owe this money and we're taking your license, and by taking your license you now owe these fines to get it back, fees to get it back. So
you're going to be paying.
It was already paid, yes. In fact, it was paid in partially in Obama coin. This was the first time I've ever had Obama coin.
Obama coin on you?
Oh, yeah, I believe I do. This was the first time Obama coin's ever been rejected, or maybe I don't. But yeah, every other time I've tried to pay for things with Obama coin, it's been accepted. Maybe sometimes they'll ask questions about it, but in this particular instance, the woman behind the counter did not want to accept any. Yeah, it turns out I don't. But
so what do you have in your pocket there?
These are normal quarters. These are boring quarters. And dimes.
So in a roll, that's what you use for Robin Hooding?
Yes. So I paid $5 of the ticket with $5 in dimes, and I tried to pay the other $5 in Obama coin. Now, the clerk was only trusting of the Obama coins that had the traditional eagle on the back. Any of the state quarters or national monument quarters she was skeptical of and would not accept.
Isn't it so interesting to see what bureaucrats accept or find acceptable as state property? Like, oh, well, these quarters I recognize, this is okay. Mm-hmm. But these are unfamiliar to me, I will reject them. Even though they're really all from the state.
Another activist suggested that it turns out someone else was there and offered to pay the difference of what was state quarters that they wouldn't accept. Mm. And then when he offered to do that, they sold the other Obama coins to him and said, oh, here you go, and took $5 from him. And he was excited to have gotten the Obama coin at the spot price, because some people pay a premium for them.
That's right. So was that all how it went? Anything interesting else happened at court? Tell us about the audience. How many people were there to support you? I personally was not there. I intended to be. I set an alarm to be, but I slept through it. I stayed up way too late last night.
There were about 4 or 5 people in the audience that were there for the purpose of watching my trial. There was another maybe 5 or 6 people that were there for another matter that was scheduled afterwards. And fortunately, judging by the laughter I heard throughout the case, everyone seemed entertained.
were there any members of Stop Free Keene who attended?
I didn't spot any, other than the friendly parking enforcer who happens to be a member.
How do you feel about the fact that StopFreeKeene.com promoted your trial?
They did.
You didn't know
that.
about this?
No, to be honest, I do not follow the Stop Free Keene website because I consider it to be so disreputable as to not even be worthy of my time.
Yeah,
but
they
I do
actually-
try and follow the Facebook page.
They listed your and many other Free Stater trials that are happening this month and urged their members to attend.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't draw more, because I like to think that I'm one of the ones that Stop Free Keene loves the most.
They love you. They love to follow what's going on with you.
I was
So what's
delighted when they protested my barbecue. It was so humbling.
Yeah, speaking of, my little sister emailed me today and she said she loved the barbecue that you had in the park and that she and her church group had a barbecue as well, and she was thinking about Robin Hood when that happened.
Wow.
So, what's next for you? What's next for Robin Hood? What can we expect out of Garretian?
Oh, well, we're continuing every day in the streets to keep those meters filled. The city is trying all sorts of new ways to deter us, like they have this credit card payment system, and they try and are double dipping by making people pay and then having us pay their meter as well, and we wouldn't know. But none of these schemes are going to stop Robin Hooding from continuing here in Keene, not until the parking is liberated and the people can park freely and justly. But yeah, this whole court system, it's a shame. Like, if we had just sat down and had a conversation about the issues at hand, I think it would be a lot more productive than the structuring that one needs, where you can ask questions and they're deemed relevant or irrelevant. And I thought it was unfortunate the judge would not allow my full argument to be made. But what I think it is practice for the next case, because there inevitably will be a next case. And yeah, I think it's always good to practice, and that parking tickets provide us a great means to practice court.
Do you envision a day when you will win every parking ticket because you've gotten so much practice?
Well, I'd like to think that if I don't forget to jump through the state's hoops and just always fill my meter. But that's another reason why I advocate bicycling. They can't tax you for that.
Very cool. Hey, thanks so much for your time.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, you're at freeconcord.org, and the video will also be there, I expect. And
Yes.
also freekeen.com.
Mm-hmm. And the raw videos are already uploading to Freeman TV Raw.
Very cool. Thanks, Garrett.
Chili right on the bike.
One minute, Jim, watch the lights.
Yeah. Oh, he's the one that lit you know, like a long power.
I don't know if that will help you or not.
Good evening. The hour of 6 p.m. having arrived, I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee, and welcome the viewers of Cheshire TV. This meeting is being broadcast live on Cheshire TV, Channel 10. Anyone wishing to view a copy of the agenda and supporting materials can find it on the city website or if you wish to receive electronic copies of future agenda packets, please go to the homepage and subscribe to the city meetings email list. The public and other city councilors will be recognized to ask questions and make comments on the agenda item under discussion during tonight's meeting. And after being recognized, all remarks are to be made through the chair. Anyone who wishes to address the committee is asked to go to one of the microphones in the room. There's one here in the front and one off to the side. Please identify yourself by name and address prior to speaking. Once a motion has been made and seconded, only the committee and public may speak. Councilors will have an opportunity at the next council meeting to weigh in with their opinions. And written comments from the public will be accepted at the city clerk's office until Tuesday, 1 p.m. We have 2 items on our agenda this evening. The first is a communication from Carl Jacobs and Jessica Gelter. Arts Alive request to sponsor Creative Communities Exchange. And is there someone here to speak to that issue?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carl Jacobs, in my role as Chair of the Board of Arts Alive. And we have been asked by the New England Foundation of the Arts to help them with an event that they do every 2 years around New England. They gather people from all over New England to attend a Creative Communities Exchange, which basically explores the relationship between the arts and business. And this event is going to take place in Keene next June 2nd and 3rd. People will spend the night, they will eat meals, they will walk up and down Main Street and be tempted to shop, as well as participating in a number of workshops and things like that. So what they want to, they need spaces. The first day of it is going to be using facilities at Keene State College. And the second day, what we'd like to do is use facilities up at this end of Main Street. So Heberton Hall, the meeting spaces in the library, and actually the City Council chamber. They need a space that'll hold 70 or 80 people for these activities. So the City Council chamber in particular is not rented out, but if the city is willing to be a sponsor, then it could be an in-kind donation or as a sponsor to support the event. So that's what we're seeking. And there is a sentence in this letter that it's a little confusing, I think. What we need to at some point come up with a value for the donation, because what they do is they use that value for matching grants that they get to support the event. I think the sentence is a little poorly worded, but that's basically what it's talking about, is to be able to give some value that they can report as being donated from the city.
You mean the last sentence of the 3rd paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's pretty much the gist of it, unless, you know, I can answer any questions.
Any members of the committee have any questions for Councilor Jacobs? No? Any members of the public have questions or comments at this point? Just want to ask, is there any city staff who has an opinion or wishes to make a comment on this item before we move towards making a motion? Seeing none, okay. So, Councilor Manware.
I just wondered if, from city staff, is this room available during the day? Thank you.
Well, I personally see no reason to give Councilor Jacobs any issue on this evening, or Arts Alive. So I would entertain a motion if we're done discussing. Does anybody want to give it a shot? Decide.
I guess I will. I'll try. MSFI recommends that we have Arts Alive use city council and Keene Public Library. They're allowing that for June 2nd and 3rd for their function.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Councilor Manwaring?
Could I add an amendment there that recommend that the city, however, I forget exactly how she, but the city come as a sponsor to the event, and then the rest of it.
I'm not sure that needs to be amended, but let me, if I could quickly ask the city attorney.
It'd be good to have the
Okay.
city included in the motion as a sponsor, it seems to me, but certainly.
And that would
probably
require an
appreciate it.
amendment at this point?
Only if the second agrees to make the changes and present it.
Well, she made the amendment. Do you agree with the changes?
It was the second, right?
The motion was seconded by Councilor Manwaring.
Right.
And then.
So the original proponent of the motion.
Do you have any objections?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I'll get you. There.
City manager.
Yeah, I think it's actually critical that you do that,
Yeah.
because that's the reason that they can come in and use the council chambers in that fashion.
So my sense is we're all good at this point. Any further discussion with committee members? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Jacobs. Oh, and for the minute, I just want to note, in case, Councilor Jones is not with us this evening. Okay. Our second item this evening is a communication from Polly Morris, the Monadnock Voices for Prevention. Request to remove Robin Williams Memorial. And in our packets from Ms. Morris, and is she here? Do you wish to speak further on?
I do, please.
Just ask you to give your name and address for the minute.
My name is Polly Morris, and I live at 18 Edwards Street here in Keene. And I would like to clarify that this letter was coming from me as a concerned citizen. It was not coming from the Monadnock Voices for Prevention organization. The paper, the Sentinel sort of misconstrued that I was a mental health counselor, which I am not, and that my organization was a mental health and substance abuse organization, and it is not. I'm a substance misuse prevention coordinator, which I have experience working in the substance misuse field and have many trainings in suicide prevention. So I have training and experience, but I'm not a mental health counselor, so I want to be clear. My concern, however, was that in the normal morning process, something as public as a display like that, a time frame needs to be, so it needs to have a cap time, because this kind of behavior in a community can cause people to, it perpetuates the idea of suicide ideology. So folks might think that someone like Robin Williams, who's a very public figure, a very beloved actor, his death by suicide might trigger others to do the same, thinking that there's glamorizing or glorifying, or just as an easy way out. And I don't mean that in the sense that it's an easy way out for anyone, but the behavior gets perpetuated by leaving something up so long. And one of the examples that I had given in my letter was that when a president dies, we lower our flags to half-mast for 30 days. But there's a starting time and there's a stopping time, so that we have that significant amount of time to grieve and to mourn, to publicly express how we feel, and then it's time to move on, to move forward. So that was my intention, and I just was trying to start the process. I didn't know what it would entail.
A quick question.